Okay, recording has been started. Let's move ahead. Sharing my screen with you. So friends, today's agenda is going to be the determinants of the capital structure planning. And then we will go to some capital structure theories which will guide us that what should be forming a part of your capital structure. Now, to do every such sort of a concepts, first of all, we should clear with this concept of capital structure, right? Now, what do we mean by the capital structure, first of all? It's basically all the long-term sources of finance putting together, and its proportion is known as the capital structure. So say I have taken the two sources of finance. One is the equity, another one is the debt, borrowings from financial institutions. So in my capital structure, I have got the two sources of finance. One is equity, another one is debt. And capital structure decision is not just about deciding that what should be forming a part of your capital structure. It is also about deciding the appropriate mix of components. That means in my 100 rupees of capital finance, how much of portion should be of equity and how much should be of debt? That's a capital structure decision. So capital structure decision involves 2 to 3 things, my friends. First is deciding the relevant source of finance. That's what we have done till now, yes or no? We have seen the pros, cons, features, characteristics of various sources of finance. Their cost also we have calculated. Now the second aspect, the second decision we take in the capital structure is that deciding the appropriate mix of funds. Means what portion of equity, what portion of debt, what portion of say preference shares should be ideal. Now as far as the idealism is concerned, there is no specific answer to it, my friends. But yes, we will try to at least satisfy these two objectives. One is, let me share the screen with you and I'll be writing those objectives. So two things must be clear in my mind before I do this capital structure planning. One of those things is that my objective should be to maximize the value of the company, right? Everyone wants to maximize the value of their organization, institution, company to which they are belong to. And another thing is that we want to minimize our overall cost. Now, to strike off a balance between the two is basically a task of capital structure planning. I want to maximize my value. Now, what do we mean by the value, first of all? And here, the value is not something which is intangible in nature, must be able to be calculated, properly measurable. So we generally say that the value of the entire firm is basically the value of all the sources of finance. So one is equity plus debt. Generally, we see these two sources. Then we may have the preference capital too, and reserves and surpluses is anyway included in the equity. So here we have got the value of the entire company. All the sources of finance putting together is basically the value of a company. We want to maximize that. Another one is we want to reduce our cost. Cost means what? Cost means the weighted average cost of capital, which is a source of finance, which is the cost for source of finance. All the sources of finance putting together, whatever the cost we incur on that is regarded as the WSCC. That's what we have seen till now, right? So we want to reduce our cost. We want to increase our value. These are the two objectives with which we'll be doing our capital structure planning. So as I told you, my friends, capital structure is basically related to first deciding the sources of finance and then deciding the appropriate mix of it. First is source of finance, डिसाइडिंग कि भैया इक्विटी की, डेट की, प्रेफरेंस की, कन्वर्टेबल प्रेफरेंस की, रिजर्व्स एंड सरप्लस की, डिबेंचर्स, एंड देन मिक्स ऑफ इट। मिक्स माने कि किसका परसेंटेज ज्यादा होना चाहिए, किसका कम, कितना डेट रखना है, कितना इक्विटी रखना है, ये दोनों को हम कैसे डिसाइड कर पाएंगे पहले? मतलब ये दोनों चीजें, डिसीजंस लेने हैं, वो कैसे ले पाएंगे? विथ दिस टू ऑब्जेक्टिव्स इन माय माइंड। वन इज maximizing the value, another one is I will try to minimize my cost of capital, which is WACC, weighted average cost of capital, that we used to find. Now let's jump to the determinants. See, we have got a specific objectives which we want to satisfy while doing this capital structure planning. But I'm asking the question to all of you. Let's have a small brainstorming session. What do you think, that which factor will be deciding and will be influencing my decision for capital structure? Decision related to either the selection of the source of finance or the appropriate mix of source of finance in my capital structure. So as far as these two decisions are concerned, what do you think? How I'll do it? What factors will be influencing my decisions? These are basically the determinants of capital structure. So inviting your opinions on that. I hope my question is crystal clear. What are the various determinants of capital structure? So while doing the capital structure planning, which factors will influence and affect your decision? That is what my question is. Everyone, let's have the active interaction.
Fundraising.
Fundraising. Okay, so you mean to say that the opportunity available for the fundraising?
Yes.
Okay, so some of the companies might not have the good opportunities to raise the funds, but some of the companies have got tremendous amount of financial capability through which they will be able to raise the funds very quickly. Obviously, the capacity of Mr. Mukesh Ambani is quite different from the capacity of Mr. Chandulal. So Chandulal may be facing some issues while raising the funds from the market, बट मुकेश अंबानी के लिए मार्केट में से लोग उनका दरवाजा खटखटाएंगे कि भैया आप हमसे पैसे ले लो. So depends how much capable you are to raise your funds, and accordingly your capital structure decisions will be taken. So one is rightly identified by a person: fundraising capability. Any other factor which will affect your decision? Let's have a brainstorming. You may unmute yourself. You may communicate that to me through the chat box, whatever the way feasible to you. Yes, please. Let's not make it very complicated. Let's understand as if we are starting our own business. We are doing the startup. And in that, if I want to raise a fund, which are the various matters I will look before raising the funds, before deciding that what should be debt, what should be equity. So what are the things I'll take care of? Try to understand, please, everyone.
Period of funds.
What did you say? I couldn't get it.
Period of funds.
What is the first word? Something of funds. Period of funds. Very nice, Mr. Roman. Period of funds. That's an amazingly identified determinant. Now see, if you want to start up your business, you can't go to the bank with the cash credit, right? Because cash credit is available only for the short period of time. You can't do the startup with the working capital loan. Working capital loan तो तुरंत पैसे पे करने होते हैं भैया.
Sir, retained earnings.
Yes, I'll come to that. Let me explain this second one first. So period कौन से सोर्स ऑफ फाइनेंस का कितना है, ये डिसाइड करेगा कि मुझे कौन से सोर्स ऑफ फाइनेंस रखने हैं. अच्छा, मुझे अगर बहुत समय के लिए पैसे चाहिए 15 साल, 20 साल, 25 साल के लिए, तो मैं ऑब्वियसली सोचूंगा कि मैं इक्विटी के थ्रू रेस करूं, बिकॉज इक्विटी इज द परमानेंट सोर्स ऑफ फाइनेंस, and I'll not be needing, and I'll not be able to pay them back, say in 15 to 20 years. I want it for a very long period of time, so I'll raise the equity rather than going with the debt in borrowings or something, you know. So what is the period of funds? Some funds are available only for a very short frame of time, like the overdraft facility given by the bank to you. For a very short period of time, it may be given to you. Within just a couple of days, you are supposed to repay them back. You cannot use that funds for a long period. And say, if I need the funds only for 2 to 3 days, obviously I'll not raise the equity for that, right? कभी सुना है कि यार मेरे को है ना 4 दिन के लिए है ना एम्प्लॉइज को पैसे देने के लिए नहीं है, तो मैं एक काम करता हूँ, इक्विटी रेस कर देता हूँ? सुना है ऐसा? कितने समय के लिए पैसे चाहिए? वेरी नाइसली आइडेंटिफाइड. यस, थर्ड वन. Someone was saying something about retained earnings. Was there?
Jitesh.
Yes, Mr. Jitesh. Retained earnings. ऐसे माउंट आबू में जाके पहाड़ पे बैठ के इको आ रही हो ना, वैसे आ रहा था. Now, what do you mean by the retained earnings? Retained earnings माने के reserves, and surpluses. Okay. Reserves and surpluses क्या होते हैं सर? ये तो हमें मालूम ही है. जो भी पैसे कंपनी ने ऑलरेडी इकट्ठे करके रखे हैं ओवर द नंबर ऑफ इयर्स, कुछ पैसे जो इकट्ठा करती आ रही है बेचारी, जो जमा करके रखे हैं, वो उसे हम कहते हैं रिजर्व्स एंड सरप्लस. अब अगर पहली बार कंपनी एस्टेब्लिश हो रही है राइट एट द इनिशियल पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, तो उस समय पे तो रिटेन्ड अर्निंग हमारे पास कुछ होगे नहीं. But meanwhile, while doing the business, after getting established, if we want to raise the further capital for our further objectives and expansion, over there, the availability of retained earning will play a crucial role, definitely. Because if you have the good reserves and surpluses with you, then your capacity to repay the loans and borrowings increases by many folds. जो कंपनी के पास अच्छे रिजर्व्स होते हैं, उस कंपनी को अच्छे टर्म्स में नेगोशिएशंस भी मिलता है. जिनके रिजर्व्स एंड सरप्लसेस अच्छे, उनको लेस इंटरेस्ट रेट्स पे भी बाहर से लोन अवेलेबल होगी. क्योंकि जब ये लोग लोन देने के लिए सोचते हैं, तब वो क्रेडिट एनालिसिस करते हैं. क्रेडिट एनालिसिस में हाउ मच रिजर्व्स एंड सरप्लसेस द कंपनी हैज गॉट plays a very pivotal role. So if you are gathering the fund only at the initial point of a time, then retained earning will not be in a picture at all, definitely. But yes, while the furtherance of the business, while doing the business, if you require the further funds for the future expansion and maintenance, in that case, if you have got the strong research available with reserves available with you, definitely you will be able to take the loans at a very cheaper rate. So that affects my capital structure decision. Very nice. Anyone, please? The list is quite long. You people have correctly identified 3. Size of the company, Miss Jasvi, very nice. It was rightly identified by her. Size of the company. If it is a small company, you may have the private limited company. Just 2 to 3 shareholders may be okay. But if it's quite a big company operating in thousands of crores, obviously, the company should go in public to raise this much of a capital. And that's what happens with every startup. After getting the, kickstart, after some extent, they all are coming up with their IPOs. That means raising the funds from the public at large. Zomato has done it. Various startups have done it. Flipkart had done the same. Facebook had done the same. After establishing first a reputation in a market, now you want a bigger and better funds. You want to go in the market now. You want your shares to be traded among the public. You will list your company and you will come up with your IPO. So अगर स्मॉल कंपनी है तो आपको पब्लिक लिमिटेड में अगर कन्वर्ट ना करना हो, तो पब्लिक के पास से पैसा ना लेना हो, तो इट्स ओके, चल जाता है, कहीं और से भी पैसे मिल जाएंगे. अच्छा, हमें फंड्स की रिक्वायरमेंट कितनी है? बोरोड फंड्स जो होते हैं भैया, उसकी एक लिमिटेशन होती है. एक एक्सटेंट से ज़्यादा आपको कोई देता नहीं है. 4,000 करोड़ का कंपनी को एक्सपेंशन करना है तो उतना ज़्यादा अगर डेट ले लेगी वो, तो फंस जाएगी बेचारी. तो इतना ज़्यादा डेट कोई कंपनी लेना भी नहीं चाहती. बेटर वो ऑनरशिप इश्यू करती है लोगों को इन द फॉर्म ऑफ इक्विटी, और फिर ऐसे पब्लिक में से पैसे रेस करती है. अब जोमेटो का समझ लो 5,000 10,000 करोड़ का IPO था, तो 5,000 10,000 करोड़ का अगर लोन लेते वो बेचारे किसी फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन से, तो पहले तो कोई देता ही नहीं, और अगर देता भी तो भी इतने ज़्यादा टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस रखते कि ये बेचारे उसमें ही फंस जाते. तो इतना बड़ा कैपिटल अगर आपको रेज करना है तो फिर आपको कंपल्सरीली थ्रू द इक्विटी जाना पड़ेगा, बाय रेजिंग द इक्विटी इन द पब्लिक. So size of the company, size of your expansion plans, how much of funds actually you require. If you require just a 1 lakh rupee, then you won't issue the equity for that, right? You may take a cash credit for some period of time, and then you may repay it back as and when you will have the capacity to give them back the money. So what is your requirement? How much funds you require? That also matters. Anyone else, please?
Sir, I can.
Yes, Mr. Darsh. What?
Sir, while taking a business loan, does this bank sees that your firm is in profit making, or they just see the asset you are mortgaging, the value of the assets?
See, Mr. Darsh, these banks have got a credit analysis models. Now they have got the each and every minute details about your credit score. They are also aware that how many number of times in the past you have filed your bankruptcy, how many number of times in the past you have failed to give the check payments on a time, I mean आपके checks bounce हुए हैं. ये सब details उनके पास automatic systems के through आती है. अच्छा, एनालिसिस करने के समय पे भी वो बहुत ज़्यादा फैक्टर्स को ध्यान में रखते हैं बेटा. इसमें सबसे ज़्यादा फैक्टर जो महत्व का होता है वो होता है सोल्वेंसी. मैं आपको एक ऑर्डर बता रहा हूँ कि उनके लिए क्या क्या मैटर करता है, कि कंपनी के पास अभी असेट का बेस कितना है, कल जाके अगर वो बैंकरप्सी डालेगी तो हमारे पैसे वापस आ जाएंगे कि नहीं आ जाएंगे, उनके असेट्स में इतनी कैपेबिलिटी है कि वो रीपे कर पाएगी. इसे कहते हैं सोल्वेंसी फैक्टर. फिर उनके लिए मैटर करता है प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी. Possibly company may not have the good assets right now, but their profitability is very good. So in future, it is expected from a company that they will create a tremendous amount of capital base through their profits only, through their retained earnings only, because they have got a tremendous profitability. Tesla Motor is the classic example of that. If you consider the total asset size of the Tesla Motors, no, it is very, very less in comparison to the big technical giants like Microsoft, Google, and so others. But yes, the earning potential with the Tesla Motors is so much that Elon Musk has become one of the richest person in the world right now, because the people are too much interested into the equity shares of Tesla Motors. People are buying it a lot because they are seeing the potential in their profitability. Then what matters is their operating efficiency, that how they are managing their working capital. Do they have the sufficient cash available? So there are various ratios which are indicating the solvency position, profitability position, operating efficiency. And yes, the will of the management. If any of the person in the management has got some bad history about the bankruptcy or some willful non-payment or any such sort of a bad history, then also the bank considers it a lot. So character, capacity, credit worthiness, solvency, profitability, everything will be checked. And these people have formed a mathematical model which may give you a score that you are belonging to a which score. So that's why what percentage of interest may be charged for you, and how much of loan capacity you have. So how much of maximum amount of loan you should be given. So what do these people do for taking the loan from the financial institutions or for getting the subsidies from the government? They first appoint the project financiers. These project financiers are mainly the chartered accountants and company secretaries. What they do is that they do the window dressing of their balance sheet and financial statements first. They try to increase the size of it. They try to increase their profitability from the financial front, first of all, by doing some window dressing. And after portraying the good picture of the company in front of these financiers, they will be raising the good amount of funds. That's why these people are appointing the project financiers first for raising the money. It will be quite difficult for you to directly go to a bank and ask for a loan at the initial level of startup with the less interest rate. So for that, you need to showcase a bright picture for your company. And that bright picture will be first prepared by your chartered accountant, by your projected balance sheets. They will first see that what kind of a growth will be there in the upcoming 5 years, 10 years from this company. What kind of a growth potential this has got. Even though they may have got the less balance sheet size right now, but in future it is going to expand with some really good growth rate. So this every convincing argument has to be done, and accordingly the negotiation happens for interest rate as well as the amount of loan. Is it clear? So every factors will be taken into consideration.
Yes, sir, clear.
Okay. Well, so we have seen quite a few things. Let's go to the concise answers we have got here. Yes, Jitesh, wanna say?
Sir, I was telling that techniques used by the company,
Technique in what?
like labor intensive or capital intensive, may affect.
Very nice. Now, labor intensive or capital intensive, that is basically related to the nature of sometimes the company, right? The manufacturing industries are more material driven and the service industries are more labor driven. I mean, over there, the manpower will be playing a very crucial role. And yes, that is altogether an independent variable too, that in the manufacturing too, these people are adopting the very good technology or what. So that will definitely affect the technology which the company is possessing affects your capital structure decision. The nature of the business affects your capital structure decisions.
So, sir,
If strategy means
different strategies by company, different companies,
strategy in what?
like different strategies to increase their business.
Okay, so you mean marketing strategy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so see, strategy may be of various departments. It may be for your production, it may be for your marketing and sales and outreach and promotion. It may be for managing your funds and finance internally within a company. So for what department we are talking about? Yes. Now, as far as the marketing strategies are concerned, I don't think it should be affecting much as far as the capital structure decision is concerned. It may have a slight influence on it, but I don't think it will be impacting my capital structure decision a lot. Let me put it in a different way. Say, whether I do the advertisement through the print media or through a TV channel, it will be, I don't think it will be impacting a lot on my capital structure, that whether I should have the debt or equity. Or say the kind of a policy I've adopted is the quality service. This is where I'm focusing the most. The customer satisfaction is the point where we are focusing the more in our company. Now, whether I'm focusing more on the customer satisfaction and the quality aspects, or in some other piece of marketing, maybe a price or something. I am giving the products with very cheaper rates. I don't think it will be impacting much as far as my capital structure is concerned. Whether I should go with the equity or debt, I don't think this will be impacting much. Yes, a slight influence will always be there. Okay, let's move ahead.
Fundamentals, sir.
Fundamentals, yes, that's what we have discussed. No, fundamental stands for the solvency, profitability, operating efficiency. This all forms a part of your fundamentals. Like, how good you are running the business, what is the track record of the management, the governance, the track record as far as the legal aspects are concerned, whether any major lawsuits are filed against the company, whether in the previous occasions any fraudulent activities identified by the auditors of the company. तो आपका हिस्ट्री कैसा है, हिस्ट्री में आपने कुछ फ्रॉड्स वगैरह, झोल कांड वगैरह किए हैं कि नहीं किए हैं. बहुत सारी चीज़ें मैटर करती है. तो कैपिटल स्ट्रक्चर है वो बहुत फैक्टर्स को मिला के हम डिसाइड करते हैं. तो अब सभी फैक्टर्स को अगर कंसाइज वे में देखें तो यहाँ पे हमारे पास कुछ फैक्टर्स इधर आते हैं. All the factors which are stated by you are right on the point, but these factors affects the most, right? One of those is the cost structure and leverage capacity. Now see, if you have already got a lot of fixed costs, then further taking the fixed costs in terms of interest while seeking the funds from the financial institutions will be difficult for you because you have already got a lot of burden of the fixed costs. If you do not have priorly committed many fixed costs right now, but yes, you have got the good amount of sales too, but the fixed cost commitment is not much, then you can afford to take some more commitment of the fixed cost in terms of your interest. So how much leverage capacity you have already got in comparison to the industry, in comparison to the other players of your industry. So भैया अगर मैंने ऑलरेडी बहुत कमिट करके रखे हैं फिक्स कॉस्ट, मेरी लीवरेज कैपेसिटी ऑलरेडी बहुत हाई है, लीवरेज पोजीशन सॉरी, तो फिर नए वाले लोन के लिए मुझे प्रॉब्लम्स हो सकती है बिकॉज एवरीवन विल थिंक दैट वेदर it's a good debt or not because these people have already got too much of fixed committed costs. और वो अगर इंटरेस्ट के कमिटेड कॉस्ट लेंगे तो बैंकरप्सी होने के चांसेस बहुत बढ़ जाते हैं. सो दिस इज द वन मैटर. नेचर ऑफ द बिजनेस, some of the businesses are very capital intensive in nature, some of the industries are very labor intensive in nature, as it was correctly identified by a fellow. So what sort of a nature of the businesses? मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बिजनेस में आपको फंड्स बहुत ज़्यादा चाहिए कंपनी को चलाने के लिए, लेकिन सर्विस इंडस्ट्री में आपको फंड्स थोड़े से कम चाहिए चलाने के लिए. इफ यू वांट टू एस्टैब्लिश से डिजिटल मार्केटिंग कंपनी, then what sort of funds you will be requiring? Nice, good, with good amenities. You will require interior setup, the office expenditure you will be having. Some employees you will have to hire on, say, a fixed permanent basis. Some good equipments, some softwares and networking and everything. Now, in comparison to that, if you want to establish, say, a manufacturing concern for producing the heavy machinery, so you can imagine that you will be requiring the very advanced machinery, fixed assets. The plant will be required, the land needs to be purchased. So in the manufacturing concerns, the capital requirement is too much for fixed assets in comparison to the service industries. Now what happens because of that is that you cannot raise this much of funds purely on the loans and borrowings. If your fund requirement is too high, you will anyway go to the ownership funds because anyone will be giving you this much of money only after you give them the ownership. इतना ज़्यादा कोई आपके ऊपर रिस्क क्यों लेगा जब आप उनको ओनरशिप दोगे? तो बहुत ज़्यादा पैसा अगर इकट्ठे करने हो तो लोन से वो थोड़े से मुश्किल हो जाते हैं पैसे इकट्ठे करने. और अगर करोगे तो फिर बहुत ज़्यादा रिस्ट्रिक्शंस भी वो पुट कर सकते हैं। वो बोलेंगे कि आपके बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स में हमारा एक डायरेक्टर होना चाहिए। वी हैड सीन नो द रिस्ट्रिक्शंस विच द फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस में पुट ऑन द कंपनी। तो ऐसे रिस्ट्रिक्शंस आ सकते हैं फिर। सो नेचर ऑफ द बिजनेस दैट अफेक्ट्स माय डिसीजन मेकिंग। साइज ऑफ द कंपनी, ऑब्वियसली। द लीगल रिक्वायरमेंट, no one can start the banking business without taking the permission of the RBI and without going in the form of company, right? You must be a company to start the banking business as per the rules and regulations of the country. You must be a company to start the insurance business. No Tom, Dick and Harry can start their insurance business with some other form of organization. Partnership form में आप insurance business नहीं start कर सकते। तो अगर कंपनी आई तो मतलब इक्विटी आ गया। तो लीगल रिक्वायरमेंट ही होती है कई बार कि आपको इक्विटी ही रेज करनी पड़ेगी। So depends what sort of a business we are doing and what kind of the legal requirement is. Say you are dealing in a company and you are seeking some foreign direct investment. So there is one party situated in the United States of America. They want to invest in your company, but there is a FDI rule. Say in that industry, you can't do the FDI more than 50%. I'm just taking the hypothetical example. Now you cannot raise the equity from the foreign investor more than 50%. That's the legal bottleneck. So what kind of the legal environment is, what kind of the legal policies are, that will also affect my capital structure planning. Requirement of the investors, you cannot raise the equity. सुबह उठ के यार इक्विटी इश्यू कर देते हैं, नहीं भैया, लोगों के कंट्रोल डाइल्यूट होते हैं जो एग्जिस्टिंग शेयर होल्डर्स हैं उनके। नए शेयर होल्डर्स आते हैं, नए शेयर होल्डर्स के पास नए शेयर्स आते हैं, तो एग्जिस्टिंग शेयर होल्डर्स का कंट्रोल कंपनी के ऊपर डाइल्यूट होता है। तो वो तुरंत हाँ नहीं कहते, उसको कन्विंस करना पड़ता है, उनको बताना पड़ता है कि क्यों हम नए इक्विटी शेयर इश्यू करेंगे। उनके पास से परमिशन लेनी पड़ती है एनुअल जनरल मीटिंग में, थ्रू द स्पेशल रिजोल्यूशन और द ऑर्डिनरी रिजोल्यूशन, वॉट एवर द केस इट मे बी। तो इन्वेस्टर्स की रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है? वो बोलेंगे कि यार एक काम करो ना, 5% 6% पे लोन मिलता है तो वो ले लो, हमारा कंट्रोल क्यों डाइवर्ट कर रहे हो। हाँ, एक समय के बाद अगर बहुत ज्यादा लोन ले लिए तो इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर भी मना करेंगे कि भाई इतना ज्यादा लीवरेज क्या है, अब चलो अब बिल्कुल लोन नहीं लेना। अगर अब आपने नए वाले लोन्स लिए ना तो फिर बुरा होगा कंपनी के साथ। अभी डिश टीवी के 30% शेयर बढ़ गए, मालूम है, कल और परसों। जी एंटरटेनमेंट, डिश टीवी, उसका मैनेजमेंट चेंज हो रहा है एंड दैट वाज हैपनिंग बिकॉज ऑफ मैनेजमेंट के अंदर कुछ डायरेक्टर्स थे जो थोड़े ऐसे अकड़ वाले थे, अपनी ही करते थे, अपनी मनमानी करते थे सब। फिर उसका जो एक मेजर शेयर होल्डर है ना, उन्होंने एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी जनरल मीटिंग बुलवाई और बोला कि भैया ये डायरेक्टर को जब तक चेंज ना करेंगे ना तब तक डिश टीवी का कुछ होने वाला है नहीं। तो एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी जनरल मीटिंग इसलिए बुलवाई क्योंकि वो डायरेक्टर्स को रिमूव करने हैं। और देखो लास्ट 3 दिन से 35% अप है डिश टीवी के शेयर्स। मार्केट तो बहुत फास्ट है भाई, अपन सो के जैसे उठते हैं ना तब तक मार्केट में इंपैक्ट आ जाता है। That's why price is the best indicator to judge the value of a company. You know, किसी के ऊपर लीगल सूट फाइल होता है तो उसका रिजल्ट कब आएगा? 5 साल के बाद, 10 साल के बाद, 15 साल के बाद, तारीख पे तारीख कोर्ट में तो चलता रहता है। लेकिन उस लॉ सूट का इंपैक्ट मार्केट प्राइस के ऊपर तुरंत आ जाएगा। समझ लो आपको पेनल्टी पे करनी हुई, वोडाफोन को जैसे पेनल्टी पे करनी हुई थी 8-10 हजार करोड़ रुपए की टेलीकम्युनिकेशन अथॉरिटी को, तो इतना ज्यादा पेनल्टी अगर उनको पे करनी हुई तो वो कब आएगी? जब वर्डिक्ट आ जाएगा, जजमेंट आ जाएगा कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ में, तब तक तो पे नहीं करना है। तो प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी के ऊपर तो लॉ सूट की कोई इंपैक्ट नहीं है तुरंत, 5-10-15 साल के बाद आएगी जब उसका वर्डिक्ट आएगा तब। लेकिन शेयर्स तो टूटने लगे, कब से टूटने लगे शेयर्स? 5 साल से वो उसके शेयर्स टूट रहे हैं आइडिया के। तो प्राइस है ना, वो बहुत अच्छा इंडिकेटर है, वो तुरंत रिएक्ट कर देता है, हर चीजों को रिएक्ट कर देता है। हमें मालूम भी नहीं है तब तक उसमें रिएक्शन आ चुका है। राकेश झुनझुनवाला ने डिश टीवी परचेस कर लिए थे जब से ये न्यूज बाहर आई, तब से पहले। ये कहाँ पे इंफॉर्मेशन पहुंच गई? हम ऐसा बिलीव करते हैं कि भाई मार्केट के अंदर इंफॉर्मेशन सबको सेम समय पे मिलनी चाहिए, सेम वे में अवेलेबल होनी चाहिए. दिस इज हाउ द परफेक्ट मार्केट शुड ऑपरेट. देयर शुड बी asymmetry in the information as far as the markets are concerned, but that's not the case. Some people get the prior information and they take the trade positions and they book the tremendous amount of profits. Anyway, that will be slightly off track matter, not going into that. What I wanted to explain is that requirement of the investors is something which matters as far as the capital structure is concerned. Tax policies, my friends. Now this dividend distribution tax is removed since last, I guess, last budget only by our finance minister, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman. Earlier to that, there was a dividend distribution tax. That means if the company decides to distribute the dividend to the equity shareholders, they will have to pay the tax on behalf of the shareholders in the form of DDT, which is dividend distribution tax. Now it will discourage the company to issue the more equity, because उनको क्या लगेगा मालूम है, इक्विटी एक तो इश्यू करते हैं लोगों को, और इक्विटी के ऊपर डिविडेंड पे करना है तो उसके ऊपर टैक्स भी हम पे करें. मतलब हमारा ही इक्विटी, टैक्स भी हम पे करें, हमारा ही प्रॉफिट में से लेस होता है, तो कंपनी थोड़ा सा सोचेगी कि भैया इक्विटी नए इश्यूज करने चाहिए, या तो फिर एक काम करते हैं डिबेंचर्स इश्यू कर देते हैं, लोन ले लेते हैं किसी और से. तो टैक्स पॉलिसीज अब क्या है? अच्छा, पहले ऐसा था कि जो लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन्स था ना इक्विटी के ऊपर, वो एग्जेम्प्टेड था. मतलब कि इक्विटी शेयर्स अगर आपके पास इक्विटी शेयर्स है, आप कुछ समय के बाद उसको सेल कर देते हो मार्केट में किसी और को, या तो फिर किसी पर्सन को सेल कर देते हो, वॉट एवर द केस इट मे बी. तो इक्विटी इज कंसिडर्ड एज अ कैपिटल असेट एंड द ट्रांसफर ऑफ कैपिटल असेट is chargeable to capital gains tax as per the Income Tax Act. So now if you were holding that equity for say more than 12 months, then it was considered as the long-term capital gain. And long-term capital gain was exempted before few years. Now in that case, shareholders were getting the dividend, and on the dividend too, the dividend distribution tax was paid by the companies. And whenever they were selling the shares to the other party, at that time too, the long-term capital gains was exempted. That means they were not supposed to pay the tax on it. So it was quite a win-win situation for the shareholders. It was the best situation for the shareholders actually, because dividend के ऊपर भी टैक्स नहीं पे करना था, और जब वो शेयर्स को सेल करते थे तब भी टैक्स नहीं पे करना था. So it was more sort of an encouragement for the equity shareholders to invest in the equity more. लेकिन वो encouragement अब नहीं है, क्योंकि अब तो उनको डिविडेंड के ऊपर भी खुद को टैक्स पे करना है, और लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन्स जो पहले एग्जेम्प्ट था वो भी फिर से चार्ज हो गया है. तो टैक्स पॉलिसी के कारण लोगों के प्रेफरेंस बदले, और अगर इन्वेस्टर्स के प्रेफरेंस बदले तो वो सीधा प्रेशर करते हैं कंपनी के ऊपर कि अब इक्विटी इश्यू करना कि ना करना, क्योंकि नया वाला इक्विटी इश्यू करोगे तो उसके ऊपर टैक्स इंप्लीकेशंस क्या है नहीं मालूम है. अगर इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए फेवरेबल हो गए टैक्स इंप्लीकेशंस तो वो बोलेंगे कोई बात नहीं करो, लेकिन इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए वो अगर फेवरेबल नहीं है तो वो बोलेंगे कि मत करो. सो व्हाट आर द टैक्स पॉलिसीज दैट अफेक्ट्स द कैपिटल स्ट्रक्चर? So these are few factors which affects very significantly, and the factors that you people have stated are also affecting it. Definitely, I'm not saying no. This list is not exhaustive. This is the open-ended list. It can further be extended to many other points. But ये factor बहुत ज़्यादा matter करते हैं in comparison to all we have discussed till now. Is it clear? So may I have the confirmation from students that this, what happens? Why people are putting their attendance here? Some people have already put their attendance. I don't know why. Did I say to put their attendance? How many of them there? How many are there? Let me just check it. I hope my voice was properly audible to you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then why did you put the attendance? Did I say? Anyway, so determinants of the capital structure, we have seen that. Now there are few capital structure theories which will guide us that whether we should go with the equity or we should go with the debt by considering the overall cost of the finance and the value of the company. So basically these theories are focusing on the valuation and the cost of finance. They want to maximize their value, I mean the value of the company, and minimize the cost of finance, and accordingly these theories are built. So there are three theories which are part of the syllabus actually. Let me start with the first one, and next two will be discussed in the next session. So first is the net income approach. It's quite simple to understand. Everyone please go over here in the chart. The chart is visible to you. Now this y-axis is basically reflecting the cost as a percentage. So what is your cost of finance? That is being represented by the y-axis, and the x-axis is representing the amount of debt, amount of loan or debt, whatever the case it may be. अब जो भी बोलो. तो ये थियरी क्या कहती है कि भैया देखो, आपका जो कॉस्ट ऑफ डेट है ना वो तो सेम रहेगा, आप जितना भी डेट लेते जाओ. सो KD इज द सेम, a straight parallel line. You may check it. KD stands for the cost of debt. आप अपना डेट बढ़ाते जाओ, आपका कॉस्ट ऑफ डेट सेम रहता है. बढ़ाते जाओ मतलब कि आप एक्स एक्सिस पे ऐसे 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 राइट डायरेक्शन में जाते जाओ, मतलब आप अपना डेट बढ़ाते जाओ, तो KD जो है वो सेम रहता है. इक्विटी के एक्सपेक्टेशंस भी चेंज नहीं होते डेट के कारण, बिकॉज इक्विटीज एक्सपेक्टेशंस are not dependent on what amount of debt you are taking. This is what the basic assumption taken by this theory. Now, as a result of that, what happens is that your overall cost of finance gets reduced because of the higher proportion of the debt in your capital structure. Capital structure में मेरा higher debt होने के कारण मेरा overall cost of capital धीरे धीरे कम हो जाता है. जितना मैं debt लेता जाता हूँ उतना मेरा ओवरऑल कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल कम होता जाता है. सो हियर इज व्हाट द कंक्लूजन इज. as the proportion of the KD in capital structure increases, the WSCC reduces. Let me just prove it mathematically and then I'll disperse the session. So say, friends, I have the two options. One is debt. Another one is equity. Say I have 20,000 rupees of debt and 80,000 rupees of equity. That is alternative one. And alternative number two is that I have 50,000 rupees of debt and 50,000 rupees of equity. So in both the cases, I am raising 1 lakh rupees only, right? Now say the cost of debt is 8% and cost of equity is 12%. Cost of debt is 8%, cost of equity 12%. Now if I tell you that find WSCC, so you will first find the weight of each and every source in their capital structure, right? Let's find the WSCC of the first capital structure. So find the weight first. So out of 1 lakh rupees, if the debt is 20,000, so it is 0.2. And the weight of equity will be 0.8. right? So there will be a 1. वेटेड एवरेज कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल कैसे फाइंड करते थे? अपन मल्टीप्लाई करते थे कॉस्ट ऑफ फाइनेंस और वेट को. कॉस्ट ऑफ फाइनेंस और वेट को अगर मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं बेटा तो क्या आता है? 0.016 और 0.096. नाउ इक्विवेलेंट कॉस्ट हमें मिला और फिर हम सबका टोटल करते थे, अगर किसी को याद आ रहा हो तो टोटल आता है 0.11. Let me convert that into percentage and increase the decimal. It is 11.20% WSEC as per the alternative 1. Now let's find the alternative 2 and their WSEC. So in alternative number 2, the cost will remain same because this theory tells you that whatever the proportion of the debt is in your capital structure, the cost is not going to remain, not going to change. But the weight will get changed, right? Now the weight of debt is also 0.5 and weight of equity is also 0.5. So the total will be 1, obviously. Now if I multiply the cost of finance with the debt weight, so I get the equivalent cost. If you can recall the format of the WSEC, you will be able to see this. So equals to cost of finance multiplied by the weight. Let's see that what do we get doing the summation of these two. Let me convert that into percentage and let me increase the decimals. So it's 10%. Now you must have observed my earnings haven't increased at all. Earnings same here. मेरा total capital requirement है 1 लाख रुपए का, वो भी same ही है. I am also raising 1 lakh rupees in the alternative 1 and alternative 2. मेरा cost है वो भी दोनों सेम ही है, 8%, 8%, 12. But because of the fact that debt is cheaper to equity, if I increase the proportion of the debt in my capital structure, the weighted average cost of capital gets reduced. So KO in this theory I'm sorry, it got disconnected for some time. Let's focus here. What I had done is I have found the equivalent cost of the second capital structure too, which was coming at 10%. Let me highlight both of this. So as per the alternative number 1, the weighted average cost of capital is 11.20%. And as per the alternative number 2, the weighted average cost of capital turns out to be 10%. Please observe that my overall finance requirement is 1 lakh rupees only. In both the case, I have raised only 1 lakh rupee. In both the case, my cost of finance is also same, 8%, 12%. The only difference is of the weight. In the first capital structure, the weight of debt is very less. In second capital structure, the weight of debt is equal to the weight of equity. Hence, my overall cost of finance gets reduced. मेरा इनकम कुछ भी नहीं बढ़ा है. मुझे 1 लाख रुपए चाहिए थे, वो ही मेरे पास है. मेरा कॉस्ट ऑफ फाइनेंस भी पहले के जैसा वैसा ही है, लेकिन फिर भी मेरा ओवरऑल कॉस्ट ऑफ फाइनेंस कम हो गया, 11.2% से हो गया 10%. And the only reason is the weight. Hence, if you assume few things like the cost of debt remains same and the cost of equity remains same, then obviously the overall cost of finance, which is denoted by KO, gets reduced like this over a period of time. And this can happen only if few assumptions are taken. If there are no assumptions, then it will not happen. Assumption number 1, that KD will remain same. And assumption number 2, that KE, cost of equity, will also remain same. With more and more date you are taking, this cost is not getting changed, 8% and 12%. Then only the overall cost of finance may get reduced. So that's the first theory, net income theory. What's the conclusion of this? The conclusion is that more and more debt you take in your capital structure, overall cost of capital finance reduces, provided the KD remains same and KE remains same. This is all about the net income approach. We'll explore the other theories in the next session. So I hope everyone is crystal clear till now. May I have the confirmation, please? यहाँ तक कोई doubt है, कुछ चीज ऐसी हो जो ना समझ में आई हो? Through the chat box, may I have confirmation, please? Okay, Miss Jasvi, Miss Kushi, Miss Rajvi. Okay, Miss Priya, Mr. Maulik. Very nice, Mr. Kevin. Good. So please put your enrollment number as a mark of your attendance. That's it from my side for the day. Thank you so much. See you all again in the next session with utmost of energy and enthusiasm.